Tonight, Prime Minister Bulletin confirms he will step down as Army Commander next year. One woman abused every day, according to latest domestic violence survey report. And we take a look at where our retired aircraft ended up. Very good evening. Leading this Monday bulletin, Prime Minister Commodore Bainimarama has once again given his full assurance that elections will happen next year. This is after he told both members of the Fiji Police Force and the military yesterday that he will be stepping down next year as Army Commander. Both disciplined forces have also been urged to familiarize themselves with the Constitution before the 2014 elections.
It's very rare for the PM to speak off script, but when he does, it's usually from the heart. At a special Sukuna Bowl service yesterday, he did exactly that.
Sa matatati ko ni wasawo juju ko ni nong Sukuna Bowl ni Commander ni Taiwan. O rada ko na pepra mada sawo ni do sa tu ko na ni Taiwan. Me to na sanga me ganga na timi me o taladikina.
Addressing both police and military personnel, the PM also strongly urged them to read the Constitution very carefully.
Read the Constitution. It will tell you that you, as a serviceman, the people that expect the service from you, the public at large. And to the Constitution, you can do it. Or so, sing the song. You look at the Constitution. Read into the Constitution. It will tell you you are to serve, no matter what.
Both disciplined services also reminded that dating back to 1987, 2000 and again in 2006, they have played a central role when it comes to law and order in the country.
Law and order situation in our country. And that brings about stability, which we can then enforce the Constitution on whatever reforms we have in mind.
Bainimarama also reminding both forces to work towards a long-term vision, a vision, he says, is already enshrined in the Constitution.
You have to have a vision. If you do not have a vision, you will perish. You must have a vision. The Constitution is chikukin na vision na.
Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
The Fiji Women's Crisis Center launched its national survey on violence against women today. Titled Somebody's Life, Everybody's Business, the survey looked at sobering statistics facing our women. One of the key findings of the survey has found that every day, at least one woman in a relationship suffers some form of domestic violence.
The survey has found that 72% of women in a relationship in Fiji have experienced some form of physical, sexual, or emotional abuse in their lifetime. Irrespective of ethnicity, religion, location, educational backgrounds, or social-economic status, there is a prevalence of violence against women in society. The stats coincide with the findings the Fiji Women's Crisis Center has found in releasing their countrywide survey this morning here in the capital. There were 3,193 women interviewed, with 1,867 from rural areas from all provinces. The survey was assisted by the Bureau of Statistics, giving it a national representation.
The emotional violence is something that the Crisis Centre, through its many years of experience, has recognised is a really damaging form of violence.
These latest statistics are a sad reflection of the painful realities faced by many women here. The question now is, where to from here?
Task Force Against Violence Against Women, set up by the Ministry for Women, where both governments and NGOs participate and look at ways in which we can improve the situation for women and girls.
Shamima Ali also said these findings have also given specific details of which areas to target. She added there are also serious economic implications.
A national strategy on the elimination of violence against women, where both NGOs like us and government will participate and develop a very effective and meaningful strategy, which other countries like Solomon Islands and Kiribati have done.
Ravoy Vafoo, Fiji One News.
Over the last 2 days, there have been 3 domestic violence cases reported. According to police, yesterday a 31-year-old woman of Tuirara subdivision was allegedly assaulted by her husband following a heated argument. On the same day, a 22-year-old woman of Langere settlement was also allegedly assaulted and punched by her husband during an argument over a mobile phone. And also on Saturday, a 29-year-old teacher of Lavuka town was arrested after he assaulted his wife at Koromakawa Club. Members of the public are advised such cases will not be taken lightly. Police have established 2 of the cases involved alcohol.
If you're caught in these situations, remember that that is the avenue that we will have to pursue. There's no 2 ways about it. There's no reconciliation phase that can be practiced by police. It's something that can only be dealt with in a court of law. During the festive season, we usually record a lot of assault cases, and it's something that we're hoping that members of the public can take into account because of the consequences their actions have on their families.
And also today, a 1-day training for civil society partners and community leaders was held in the area of domestic violence, child welfare and crime. Facilitator Nazat Shamim highlighted the importance of a thorough understanding of national guidelines when encountering such incidences. Apisalome Rambo has more.
Preparing one for effective service out in the field. And who better to hear it from but a local seasoned expert in the profession. Participants at this workshop know that a higher work rate is expected of them in their actual work environments. Therefore, the need to thoroughly understand and effectively work within national guidelines is critical.
It is intended to empower the participants, all of whom are either counsellors or social workers, on the law as it is in writing, but also the effect of the law, bearing in mind the kind of barriers that exist in our society and within our cultures to stop people from accessing the justice system.
In one UNFPA 2008 survey, alarming stats recorded that different nature of violence in our homes ranged to as high as the 80% mark, with cultural and social barriers seen as primary contributors to gender violence, a rather worrying trend.
But when those gender roles then determine the way a person is treated in the justice system, then it becomes a barrier to equality of justice, because then women tend to be treated differently from men, especially in relation to gender-based violence.
So it's all about legal empowerment, especially when gender and culture does not always deliver an equal result.
But we have looked at a few case studies, which is very good for our field workers and our counsellors to understudy the difficulties they have when they have cases, they have problems with relevant authorities, how they can go about, what they need in the restraining orders, how to go about requesting police to make those orders, some of the things they can include so that the client is protected and well taken care of.
Empower Pacific will be holding similar workshops in future to upskill its staff as well as the community it serves. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
The Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption will introduce a corporate integrity pledge next year for private businesses that will want to do business with any government agency or ministry. Today, the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption marked World Anti-Corruption Day. FICAC now plans these new measures will help improve service delivery by both the public and private sector.
FICAC took the streets today to spread its message against anti-corruption. Since they were established 6 years ago, it is evident that it takes two to commit a crime, this time with the private sector in the spotlight. From next year, a new criteria will be in place for those who will do any business with government.
So what we've decided is with the corporate integrity pledge, whoever wants to do business with the government will have to take this pledge. And the pledge will involve certain conditions. You know, if you are not within the this ranking, the Business Excellence Award ranking, then you won't do business. Or if you want to supply this to the government, you will have to meet a certain standard. And if you don't, then you don't do business.
This is particular for those government ministries that had recorded corruption cases this year.
We're still dealing with the same ministries and departments, PWD, and what used to be the formerly known as the Department of National Roads. Cases are still coming in, and also Ministry of Education. We also have ITLTB as well. Those are some of the ministries or government agencies that have come up again for this year.
This year alone, close to 500 corruption cases were reported with bribery again on top of the list.
It's still the same thing, bribery. And I think this is an area where we will be creating a lot of awareness in 2014 as to what constitutes bribery. I think people think that to accept a lunch or gift is not, it's just money. No, it's a little bit more than that. So we're going to be creating a lot of awareness on the different various forms of briberies. We're looking at kickbacks, greasing the palms and so on and so forth.
FICAC joined the World Anti-Corruption Day in 2008. Ndrewu Kelangi, Fiji One News.
The Vanua of Tavua is preparing for the burial of its paramount chief and chairman of the Mbao Provincial Council, Ratuchale Kue. Ratuchale, who died last Saturday at his Nausori home, will be laid to rest at the chiefly village of Tavua Levu on Saturday.
Preparing for the last rites that will be accorded to a high chief. The chiefly village of Tavua Levu was abuzz this morning as kinsmen start preparations for the week-long traditional funeral gathering it will be hosting.
The Vanua of Tavua has completed the traditional obligations of sending heralds to relay the funeral message to chiefly households around Fiji. Having said that, we can now officially announce that the Tui Tavua has passed and preparations for his burial are starting now.
Daudau says the traditional heralds have already taken funeral messages to chiefly households in the three confederacies, and the rengu-rengu or funeral gathering will commence on Wednesday.
Now that the mourning period has already started, the people of Tavua are required to wear the proper attire, which is black. Also on Wednesday, the rengu-rengu or wake to the late Tui Tavua will officially start, and this is when we will start receiving delegations from outside Tavua.
He says the Vanua of Tavua is prepared to billet chiefly delegations from all over Fiji to witness the final rites offered to a high chief in the Kumbuna Confederacy.
As we are preparing to host delegations and for the funeral on Saturday, we pray that good weather will be granted and that our work as a Vanua in preparing for his burial will be a blessed one. The people of Mbao will be bringing his body to rest on Friday before the burial on Saturday morning.
Ratuchale, whose mother hails from the village of Lasakau in the chiefly island of Mbao in Levu, will be laid to rest at the chiefly burial grounds of Tavua Levu on Saturday. Madium Bulletin, Fiji One News.
In the news ahead, outgoing Indonesian ambassador awarded with Order of Fiji. And Agriculture Minister targets cocoa industry revival. Hello again. Ever wondered where some of our old aircrafts end up after its use-by date? Well, we have some touching pictures today of our national carrier's old and retired Boeing 747 aircraft. Seen here, the aircraft is now resting in peace, or rather in pieces, at an aviation graveyard of sorts in the United States. As these pictures show, after chalking up millions of miles in the air, the former Boeing 747 aircraft was officially retired in June earlier this year. Our national carrier also retired its second Boeing 747 a month ago, which had done over 100,000 hours of flight time and just under 16,000 landings. In these pictures now circulating on social media, the former aircraft, which was retired first, can be seen cut up and lying at a landfill. Hundreds of airline staff members had farewelled the aircraft during its retirement. These planes have since been replaced by its brand new flagship aircraft, the A330 aircraft. The Suva High Court today has granted bail to Mahendrapal Chaudhry. This is to allow him to travel to Sydney early this next year. Bail has been granted for Chaudhry to travel to Sydney from the 1st to the 31st of January. Chaudhry's passport is currently held with the court registry. He has been asked to collect his passport on the 23rd of this month and to return it to the registry by 4 p.m. on the 3rd of February 2014. While granting the bail application, Justice Paul Madigan noted that Chaudhry had always honoured and adhered to his bail conditions in his previous applications. Indonesia's outgoing ambassador to Fiji, Chandra Salim, today received official recognition from the state. Ambassador Salim was awarded the Honorary Office of the Order of Fiji. This award is normally accorded to non-citizens, foreign dignitaries and diplomats. President Ratu Epeli Nailatikau awarded the Order of Fiji to Ambassador Salim at Government House this afternoon. Since his posting to Fiji, Ambassador Salim has helped attract a large number of potential investors here, while at the same time generating interest in specific areas such as aquaculture, agriculture, as well as art and craft. Commissioner Western Commander Choeli Thawaki says the $5 million allocation announced by government will help empower those living in informal settlements in the division. Thawaki says to date his office is looking at avenues on where to relocate some of these informal settlements.
It is the living conditions like this that has got the Commissioner Western scurrying to ensure informal settlements in his division are well catered for in the Prime Minister's $5 million budget allocation announced last November.
With the provision of $5 million next year by government is the start of looking at stopping migration of people and also giving people affordable homes for them to be able to prosper and live.
Thawaki says they have refrained from building proper homes in the informal settlements after the devastation of Tropical Cyclone Evan for a reason. He says this is why they will be looking more diligently in the coming year on areas these informal settlements can be assisted in a legal manner.
It has happened before when we build new homes for these quarter settlements, the landowners took over. We don't want to repeat those circumstances. But we build homes for people to live and have a better life.
Thawaki says apart from this, formal housing settlements that were destroyed during Tropical Cyclone Evan last year have been well looked after and the rehab and rebuilding phase is well underway.
Definitely we'll roll over to next year. As I said, the two constraints, I would not call it a constraints, but our limitation at the moment is to be able to have the fund, and the major limitation is the amount of building materials available locally to be able to implement.
Bulletin, Fiji One News.
The Agriculture Ministry is currently working closely with cocoa farmers in its bid to revive the industry. About 150 growers and interested farmers gathered at Namau village in Tailevu last week to discuss ways to revive the industry. Government has allocated $300,000 for cocoa development in its 2014 budget.
Program as well, we are buying fertilizer to distribute to the existing cocoa farmers. We have revitalized the cocoa projects, and we have distributed chainsaws, all those kind of sort that help the farmers to be able to clean up the existing cocoa plantation.
The ministry will continue to work with farmers and has set up a cocoa mobile team, which will work closely with growers to ensure that production increases to meet the growing market demand. Some of the reasons attributed to the downfall of the industry was the unavailability of markets and the outbreak of pests and diseases.
We've got a cocoa mobile team in action now, and we'll be visiting your cocoa. When you request for us to come in and assist in your cleaning, the mobile team are there to come in and help to revitalize or to clean up your cocoa plantation. And the price is there. The price of cocoa now is $5 a kilo, dry, so there's no problem with the market.
The festive cheer is already slowly spreading along our popular Coral Coast. Over the weekend, tourists on Yanuda Island at the Shangri-La Fijian Resort and Spa were treated to exactly that. On hand to do the honors was someone who did the nation proud not too long ago, Paralympic gold medalist Ilyasa Delana. Tourists were also treated to Christmas carols from a neighboring village choir. The resort's general manager Michael Monks says who better to light up their festive celebrations than a person whose gold medal performance helped lit up a nation with hope and inspiration.
At this time of Christmas, I ask you all to think of what's happening around the world and the torn strife that there is, and remember that it is a time of peace, it is a time of loving, a time of hope and of families.
Delana also proved to be a hit with tourists as he later lit up the resort's Christmas tree.
It is a time to reflect on the many blessings of the year coming to our close and to lay plans for the year ahead. It is also a time for family and loved ones.
We have the latest news from around the Pacific up next. Stay with us. As you heard earlier, some Pacific Island countries are taking their cue from Fiji when it comes to trying to eradicate domestic violence. That message was driven home at today's launch of the Fiji Women's Crisis Center's Somebody's Life, Everybody's Business report. Various Pacific Island women campaigners applauded the World Health Organization accredited survey, saying this is the start of something new which can hopefully result in stronger commitment from their respective Pacific governments.
We need the hardcore evidence to back up what we already know, and so these types of research does that really well.
Some have hopes the survey will initiate the same research in their own island to address the violence their women face daily.
No research has been conducted, but there are so many issues like domestic violence, rape, and all forms of violence against women. It's really rife in Papua New Guinea.
Vanuatu has also launched their survey, is also keen on getting help.
We felt it was important to work with the government, and like FWCC, we work with the National Statistics Office because they have the technical know-how about this work here. And so we're happy that they've taken that stand about looking more on gender policy, and hopefully that we can have that in place soon.
A Solomon Islander studying in Fiji has won the Outstanding Effort Award for a video he produced highlighting his best Korean food. Selvin Cyprus' short film is titled My New Family. Korea's ambassador to Fiji, Kim Seong-in, congratulated Cyprus for his excellent work and stressed the importance of increasing cultural understanding between Fiji, the Pacific and Korea in promoting bilateral relations. Selvin's work was the only one from the Pacific amongst 104 winners worldwide. The video contest was organized by the Foreign Ministry of the Republic of Korea and Arirang TV. It is aimed at improving foreigners' understanding of Korea. And Drew is next for sports, and Fiji Sevens drops to third on the RB series standings.
Yes, Vilian, a disappointing loss it was out of the competition last night. That's coming up. Also ahead, Tungiri caught in affair with Irish reality TV star. And Suva and Navua with most teams in NCC.